welcome back to Project Z Garage. My name is Ansar. I'm here with my brother Al and Zeus in the background there. And today, I'm happy to say that we kind of stumbled on a upgrade, a brake upgrade, or you can even call it a budget big brake kit for the 2010 ML350. This is the V6 3.5 liter W164 body. Mercedes ML350. So let's just get to it. And here is what my kit consists of. Now, this all happened because of a mistake. I ordered the wrong rotors. These are the 350 millimeter front rotors and the ventilated rear rotors, as you can see there. And what we got now was a sports brake kit to match the rotors, the size. Now, from looking at the old rotor, the old calipers versus the new ones, it looks like they're identically the same. The only differences is the actual caliper bracket or caliper carrier. The difference we see here is that on the front, it's just a little bit taller to fit that 350 millimeter rotor. Now, this is the stock one. If you kind of put it next to it, you can kind of see the difference. But if you look at the actual caliper, they pretty much look the same. Now, there are some different stampings, so we did go with the caliper that came with this whole setup just to be safe. But if you look at the markings, this has a 55, this has a 56, this is the older one, 9276. I don't know if any of this makes any sense. This might be a manufacturer number. I don't know if it's an actual part number. But we test fitted everything, and this all looks great. It fits really nice, and we're gonna go over fitting it. But let's go back to what my budget brake kit, I'm calling it, big brake kit, is going to consist of. So I got the sport brakes, the 350 millimeter calipers, and the ventilated rear disc calipers for the ML350. We're going to be adding some Brembo semi-metallic brake pads, and these are new brake pad wear sensors. So just to show you the difference between the two, let me move this stuff over. And I did paint them with the G2 caliper paint. This is their gold. They actually look like they came up pretty good. In the last video that I posted, you will see us applying that paint. So this did take a lot of trial and error. We ended up at one point getting the wrong rear brake caliper. They gave us two of the driver's side instead of a driver and a passenger. But let's just show you the difference here. 350 millimeter front disc compared to this is the 330 millimeter disc. I mean, I think you could tell right off the bat, it does look a little bit bigger. So I am hoping that we're going to see some better improvements. I mean, the looks, it definitely looks better, but we're hoping for some brake improvements too to make this feasible if someone wants to do it. Hopefully, because I haven't seen anybody else try to do anything like this or try to make it work, and the cost difference wasn't too bad for us. I already had the rotor, so it didn't make any sense in spending the money to send it back and get new ones, because it was my fault. It wasn't the manufacturer's fault. I ordered the wrong ones, but to make them work, we got the correct calipers and caliper brackets to make this kit work. It's kind of like on my Audi, on the S4, on the B7 S4s and B7 A4s. The only difference was the carriers. It pretty much used the same the caliper brackets. The caliper mounts were the ones that were different. They were taller to fit the calipers, but it was in the most part the same caliper. And I do have the same upgrade on my Audi B7 A4, which we put a larger rotor and we just reuse the calipers. So that's kind of where I got the idea from, and I do feel a difference on that But again, we did also upgrade the brake pads, which would probably be the most of that performance. Other than that, it'll just pretty much a bigger rotor will help to dissipate more heat. So it's really fighting against brake fade more than more stopping power. And I figured, you know what, every little bit helps on this big SUV. So especially when you're going on long trips or you're in a lot of traffic, downhill, you know, going at certain speeds, you know, you want that extra brake fade resistance. So I'm really proud that we were able to get this to work. Everything fitted up perfect. We're gonna show you on the driver's side how to do it and how we got it to work. Now this is just my experience. You might get away with just buying if you can find a used set of caliper brackets off of a sports model. I don't know if you're gonna be able to do that. You know, you're gonna really have to search and figure out if it's the right size. But I ended up just going to a auto parts store and buying the kit that fits the 350 millimeter, and the bolt holes are the same, the bolts are the same, all that stuff fits up perfectly. We already test fitted it on the front and the rear, and it looks really good, and we're going to go through those steps just now, and then so you guys can see the final results. Now after we have these all set up and we run it for a while, I'll give you guys a review on it to see what I think about it, if it made much of a difference, if I feel like there is some better performance to get out of this kit. Now I'm interested, I've never used the Brembo brake pads before, so that's another thing I was interested to see how well they work. You know, normally I would go with the Hawk pads, but they didn't have it for the front and the rear on the Mercedes, and that sucks because I really love them on my F-150. They work really great on the F-150. I use it on the Audi, and I really am happy with those brake pads, the Hawk brake pads. So I would definitely recommend those. Now this is the first time we're using the Brembo brake pads, so we're gonna have to try them out and see how well they work. Now these are not the fully ceramic, these are the semi-metallic ones. So the semi-metallic gives you more bite. Again, that's going to wear the rotor a little faster, but it's going to give you better performance and stopping power because of that extra bite. But you do give up some wear and tear on the rotors because of that. So you got to figure out if it's worth it to you to have the difference. Also a little more brake dust. You know, the ceramic doesn't give us much brake dust. Semi-metallics I'm pretty sure are going to give us quite a bit more brake dust, but I don't mind that for the extra performance, and I'm sure my brother doesn't mind that for the extra performance. So guys, let's get to it. Al right now is removing the stock caliper and rotor, which he's already done, which was very quick. But we were pretty much had these almost completely disassembled to begin with. So the first step we're gonna do is throw on the new rotor. You know, we put a little bit of anti-seize around the hub just to make sure we don't have any issues with taking it off the next time. This is the perfect time to also clean everything up. It's always a good idea to clean when you're doing this type of work, so for future issues, if you see any leaks, it makes it a lot easier to detect. Alright guys, so I'm going to set you guys up and we're going to get to putting this whole front brake assembly together. All right, guys, we got the caliper and the rotors on. Now what we're gonna do is bleed the air out of the caliper. We have our air compressor bleeder, pneumatic bleeder, I guess is what it would be considered, right?
Fair
pneumatic,
enough.
whatever it is. And we made sure our reservoir is full, and we're gonna put this on it and put a vacuum on the bleeder screw just to make sure we suck all the air out of the caliper so it doesn't go back into the system, and then also make sure that the fluid is running smooth throughout the caliper. Check the reservoir. Yeah, reservoir's still good. You can see the line is right there. So we're still good there. Now after we finish all the rotors and pads, we're gonna bleed everything one more time just to be extra sure. Let's see if we get the light. Kind of see the bubbles going through it. Oh yeah, that's good. Move your hand. Yeah, there you go. You can see it like flying through there. And then we're still gonna bleed everything once all the rotors and calipers are done again, just to be sure. And we're gonna work our way from furthest from the reservoir to nearest, just to make sure we get all the bubbles out of it. And then what we can do, we can sometimes we'll do it the old-fashioned way, where someone goes in the car, pumps the pedal up, holds the pressure on the pedal while another person at the brake caliper cracks it open and lets some fluid out, just to be extra certain. So you can do it either way. We have the pneumatic tool to pull the vacuum out. This is like a one-person vacuum bleeder, but I still like to do it the old-fashioned way, just to be extra sure at the very last. Whew. All right, guys, so everything has been tightened up. We have bled the caliper, and now we're gonna put on the caliper retainer spring onto it. Now there's a way of doing this. You usually, what seems to work best for us, you hook the bottom like that, and then you pull the top back.
I have to press this back for me.
Oh, there you go. You didn't even need me this time. And it's in. Pretty easy. So you hook the bottom part first, then you bring it forward, you hook this piece on, you hook this piece on, and then you have to press this spring in with your hand, and then it pops in.
Yeah, it's all the way in. There's no going further than that.
Yeah. So, and there you have it. The front budget big brake kit has been installed. Now we can move on to the rear so you guys can see how we did that one. So now we're working on the rear big brake kit, if you want to call it that, or budget big brake kit, which we're putting on this ventilated rear disc that came in the sports model. Now we put a little bit of anti-seize around the hub so we don't have any issues there. Al is gonna go put in the set screw for the rotor.
It came from the factory with Loctite, so hey, might as well put it back the same way, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And then what size is that you're screwing it in with? That's a Torx, what?
T30.
T30 Torx. And then just a little snug up once you get it all the way in. And that's it. Nothing too crazy. Now we are gonna work on putting the caliper bracket on and the caliper. So let me set you down and we'll do that in time lapse, because I don't think we need to go through this because we did this already in one video. All right, guys, so we have everything tightened up. All the bolts are in, everything's been snugged, and now we just have to put in the front retainer spring. So like we've done before, you gotta get that bottom part hooked in first.
And it's killing the paint.
Yeah, it's messing up the paint a little bit. Get the bottom first. There you go. Now it's right. You didn't have it good before. Get that all the way in first. Okay. Yes. Now you can bring the top up and over. Okay, this shouldn't be that hard to push in. Okay, that was a little harder than the front, but it's on. We scuffed up the paint a little bit, but oh well. What are you gonna do? But that pretty much completes our big brake, or what do you call it? What do we say it was? Budget big brake kit for our ML350. All right, guys, so we got all the brakes on our budget big brake kit, but the one thing we didn't check, which I completely forgot until we were just talking about it, we never test fitted the wheels on the car to make sure it clears the calipers. Now, I don't think we'll have a problem. We're going to test fit it right now because we didn't really make it any wider. We did make it a little taller, and our ML350 did come with the 19-inch wheels. So Al's going to put it on there for us to test.
Socket for it?
Just do 2. Is that one? I'm not sure. How are we looking?
That's good. I hope.
Anything touching?
Nope. Just here in the pad under rotor.
Awesome. So it definitely looks like it's got about what, half an inch or so?
Yeah, it's got gap.
It's got a good gap.
Yeah.
So. All right, guys. So that's actually really good news because it's really only the front that the rotor is about an inch bigger. So that pushes the caliper an inch higher than it was before. So it's good news that it fits behind the stock 19-inch wheels. I think these are, I don't know, it's the 5-spoke. So you guys are gonna have to, I'm not sure if it'll fit with anything else smaller, but this is a 19-inch with the offset and everything that this has. It clears it with decent amount of room that I'm not worried about it touching. Now we're gonna try the back just to make sure there's nothing different with that.
Like 2 inches here.
Awesome. So this definitely fits with no problem. As you can see there is a ton of space between the spokes and the caliper. Nothing's touching. That's great news. That means this will work with the stock 19-inch wheels that the Mercedes came with. Now when we have a chance to put the 22s on, I don't think we'll have any problems because I shouldn't have any problems with that one. So guys, check it out. I'm really happy with this upgrade. It definitely fills out the wheel well on the stock ones a lot. So it definitely fills up those 19s. And I really love the way they look. And you know, we have a little touch of gold in there. I think this pretty much sums up what my budget big brake kit is for the ML350. This is a 2010. We've done a bunch of other stuff. I'll link a bunch the playlist for all the stuff that we've done on the ML350 below, so you guys can check it out. Or I'll link it up above too for when we did how to change the front brakes and the rear brakes. And I'm gonna try to give as much information as far as the torque specs. But like always, like I say this, guys, different cars, different models. It could be a weird year that they use a different type of bolt. So this is just what worked for my 2010 ML350. So hopefully you guys can you like what we did. And it's so hot today, I'm sweating like crazy, but we were able to get the big brake kit done. Well, technically it started off with just changing rotors and pads to now figuring out how to use the sport brakes, which are a lot bigger. So now we're running 350 millimeter up front, and we're running the vented disc in the rear, and we're using Brembo brake pads. All right guys, I think it's gonna close out today's video. I hope you guys like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, you know, hit that thumbs up button. Leave a comment down below if you saw anything that you think we should have done differently. If you guys have done a big brake kit and what works for you, let us know. But for less than what, $1,000? I think it's under $1,000. I have to do the math, but it was relatively cheap compared to the next level up, which I believe is like the Brembo big brake kit, which is like $5,000 or some ridiculous number, which doesn't make sense for these cars. I think just a little bit bigger rotor with the better pads, the ventilated disc in the back, I think this is going to be a really good upgrade. But once we put some miles on this, we'll come back with another video with an update on how we like it, how everything is working out, if we think it was a good upgrade, if it was a bad upgrade, how well the brake pads are working. You know, I'm probably just going to do a video over all the upgrades we've done, you know, the brakes, the suspension, and kind of wrap it up there. All right guys, we'll catch you in the next video.